You're alive.
Great. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the November 2nd meeting of the Board of Riley County Commissioners. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wings aren't symmetrical.
What's that?
What?
The wings, they're not symmetrical.
They're not.
They're not. We gotta start all over.
Well, I don't know. In real life, though, like wings aren't necessarily exactly the same.
Gotta start all over.
Eagles.
Why don't you catch one and let us know?
Yeah.
Although that be a federal offense.
We'll come visit you.
I don't know. We have money in the budget for that.
Convenient.
Convenient.
Spoken like the budget and finance office.
Oh, we would have.
Yeah,
Before.
yeah.
Well, we have money for the county attorney to prosecute.
Pile it on. Pile it on.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
Well,
Vivian? Got one?
Oh, no.
since would you like me to share correct information about the article now or wait until the press conference?
There's no press conference today.
There's no press conference, so
Correct.
in the it's the 11-1 or the 1031 paper in front of you?
No, one's a hard copy and one's a virtual copy, whichever day is made.
Yes.
Okay, so there was an article about the Keat sewer system and the pollution of mercury. The information was incorrect, and we have a statement ready that I'm planning to send the reporter today, and we'll share with the public the correct information too. It outlined the strategy for implementing a new sanitary sewer system as a connection to the Manhattan City sewer system. That is an option, but that is not the top option that staff and elected officials are pursuing. It also talks about a contract with they call it a contract with the engineer. Correctly, they refer to the cost of $16,000 that's been spent with a consultant to do research and survey the land and take samples on a potential site for a non-discharging lagoon as the cost of the project, and that is incorrect. So we will update them with the corrected estimated cost for project potential. Again, this is all potential and things that we are considering. And then there is an upcoming public hearing to let the participants in the sewer benefit district know that the estimate has changed since it was originally taken in 2020. So we will be doing all of that, and I'm sorry that I know a couple of you have gotten calls or I've heard from residents who thought the information in the paper was correct, and we'll do our best to get the correct information to the reporters and to the public.
Yeah, and if the Mercury is listening, I would encourage them to send people, their reporters, to the meetings to get the information correct, or call one of us to find out what's really correct before they print. Thank you. Any other public comment?
I didn't know we had options. I thought that was kind of why we're here
No.
right now.
No. Well, we narrowed it down to one project, which is in this just non-discharging lagoon.
Determine the most feasible and affordable option is to build a non-discharging lagoon, but the option exists. I think it's too costly to connect to the sewer, and we don't have any updated agreement with the city or information from them that they are still willing to participate in their side of it. But I know it was many millions more.
Wouldn't you check on? Never mind.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be.
Unrelated. I'd like to ask the board's permission. I'd like to ask the board to add an executive session to my administrative. 10:15.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we add an executive session to Lansing Homeland's Administrative Services, work session.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to add an executive session to the agenda at 10:15 under Clancy Commons time. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, now it's time for commissioner comments. Yeah, this is,
Background music today.
I'm kind of hoping they're working on the other side of the street because I don't want the windows to fall in on us, but fingers crossed.
Okay. So it's the end of the month, short on meeting, but Tuesday I had my granddaughter's first basketball game this season. She had a good game and he won most battle. It was a good game. About happened. She didn't score, but I need to call the police. She had more steals than who she played for. Last night. And last night was the Riley County Extension annual meeting, but to had a presentation, the executive council and stuff. And we had a presentation by Glenn Brunkow. He's come 2 weeks in Africa on an extension trip this summer. He had some slides and some good stories about it. It was really interesting. That's all I got.
okay, Commissioner Ford.
We just put right on cue there, huh? You
Yeah,
must know I was getting ready to speak.
I saw me staring him down out there.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, better you than me. Actually, for the first time in quite some time, it's been kind of a slow week, actually. Catching up on a lot of things at work. We just completed our annual inventory, very challenging annual inventory this year. Full year with the new software system that does all that, and it's not been good. I'm never going to get ahead of that one, I don't think. Anyway, we're really behind on production and schedule is tight, particularly with the Thanksgiving holiday looming as well. So we'll see how it works out. I too attended the extension annual meeting last night. I would say my typing's bad because I put Sykes Vin A as the venue. So apparently they're moving to some kind of a French type of thing up there. My bad. Very well attended. We heard from the chair, Linda Tenner. She gave a opening call order. Gary Fike provided an introduction to some guests and staff. State Extension Officer and Eastern Region Director provided some remarks as well. Short business meeting followed. Election of new officers. Rich Fargo was on hand to swear everybody in for that. Dinner was catered by TCB Streets and Eats. Never heard of them until last night. Big, huge old meatballs. Huge meatballs. Good. Guess they do tacos and pizza or something up in the Randolph area. Gonna be over at the Alumni Center or something on Friday. So if you're over in that area, check them out. Pretty good. Short business meeting followed after that as well. And then yeah, he mentioned the evening program was African Adventures with Glenn Brunkow. K-State won its game last night, preseason. Did get a chance to watch or catch up on it. Just know what they were playing. So, and speaking of the extension, our very own Lynn Berry won state award for local outstanding unit professional for 2023. I can't think of anybody who's more deserving of that award for her work and efforts. So I'm pretty excited, pretty humble about it, I guess. She does really good work for us up there in the extension department. So glad to see her learn that. So, and that's all I got this morning. Pretty quiet.
okay. Well, the first Wednesday of the month is usually pretty busy for me. So Tuesday I did meet with Clancy Hallman and Shelley Woodard to discuss the upcoming meeting with a property owner in Keats. Also talked about the public meeting coming up this month here. Wednesday, I attended the Military Relations Committee meeting at 4 Points. Guest speaker was the SBA Director Wayne Bell, who lives in Wichita, but he has the Wichita region all the way west to Colorado. And they're promoting the Boots to Business program for veterans. Then they had a small business that was there that they consult with various veterans in the region, and actually from anywhere actually to try to encourage them and help them develop small businesses and get financing, SBA, and then work really close together. They said that there were about 55,000 veterans in the Flint Hills region. So I thought that was quite a large amount. First, I thought they said in Riley County. No, it didn't work. That's not right. But it was the Flint Hills region. They are looking for board members on that in that company, and I have information on that if anyone is interested. Or the chamber has information on that too. Then I got in late on the HWI board meeting. They started at 12:30, didn't get done until 1 o'clock at the military relations, but they did their reports and talked. A couple things I wrote down. The unemployment rate nationally is 2.8%, and in this area it's 2.7%. So they're looking for a replacement for Joe Aniston, yeah, who moved out. So they're looking for someone in business like manufacturing, someone who owns a business to be on the board. Then after that, I went to a West Loop Business Association meeting. Excuse me. I had a presentation by Eric Reed, the 383 superintendent. He talked about the new high school and the transition of the ninth graders into the school. And then he talked about getting students in and out of with buses and cars in and out of the school, which he warned everybody just stay away for 30 minutes after and 30 minutes before because it's really congested. And then they talked about the Franklin Education Building, which is the old ninth grade. They called it the Franklin Education Building because I guess that was the name of the school back in the day. And they're going to have all their administrative people there in that building. So the remodeling they're still working on, and it'll probably they want to have everyone together by next year. So hopefully that'll all come together. The existing admin building will be turned into a special use for special classes and for high school students, special classes, special ed, all sorts of programs that they can't, night school things that they can't really do too well in the main building. Then let's see, what else did we have? I didn't write all that down. There were two candidates for the city commission that were spoke, Mayor Hassall and then Rosemary Laux. They both spoke on behalf of themselves for election. There were a lot of questions that came from the audience. It was a really well attended meeting. I always enjoy that meeting. There were a lot of good people that showed up in the business. They had a great turnout at the West Loop Halloween, right? And there were thousands of kids. So I don't know exactly what this number was, but it was pretty busy. And then I too went to the conservation meeting last night, and you two reported it real well. So I enjoyed that. The food was great, and it's nice to see that building being repurposed for a venue. So I hope they do well up there. And that's all I have this morning.
Ready for business, commissioners? First item we have, need a motion on the MPO letter of interest for the Flint Hills Regional Trails Project.
That's the one we discussed in Ogden.
Correct.
Move to approve Riley County to be included as a regional partner in the Flint Hills MPO Regional Trails Project letter of intent to the U.S. Department of Transportation's Thriving Communities Program.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve Raleigh County to be included as regional partner in the Flint Hills MPO Regional Trails Project. All in favor? Aye.
All three signed, please.
Hard to hear this.
We can only think it keeps up all meeting.
But it's coming.
It's inside the building across the street.
Inside,
And it's that loud in here.
what are they doing up there?
There's plywood underneath the outside, the back here, with a piece of machinery part and a big dumpster. So I would guess there's some demolition happening.
Take the whole building?
That sounds like a hammer chisel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just, I think they just redid everything.
Plumbing in probably.
Yeah.
Done too much of that.
You've done it before they even had machines. You're over there doing it with a hammer and a chisel.
I was doing drywall then. I did drywall then.
Wasn't really hammer, more like a stick.
Yeah.
Drywall on many buildings and houses in this community and around. You. Next, commissioners, I need a motion to approve 2024 County mental health contract.
This is in our 24 budget.
Correct. Correct.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the Pawnee Mental Health Service contract for 2024.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the Pawnee Health Mental Health Services for 2024. All in favor? Aye.
Have re-sign, please. Bet the tenants above them are enjoying that
Oh, I
one.
bet.
So we know who that is.
Oh, yeah.
They aren't interviewing anybody.
I would bet they're in work from home today.
Yeah.
Write my last name first. Put that, I have to redo that.
Now you're. Oh, sometimes my hand gets out of rhythm. And
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
I was listening to.
You're better off starting over, but then it's too late.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't look like my signature.
Well, I
Looks like
thought
I
about
forgot
that.
how to write.
It's hard to make an F into a K, you know.
I'd point out, we wouldn't have this problem if we could just use a stamp.
We use your stamp all the time, Commissioner.
I know you do. Not the same, I can't use it. And I lose sleep over it too, by the way.
I know you do. Next, Commissioner, need a motion on the thank you letter for the city of Ogden.
Make a motion to sign a thank you letter to the city of Ogden for use of the facility for Monday's Riley County Commission meeting.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to sign a thank you letter to the city of Ogden for use of their facility for our meeting this previous Monday. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please.
Randolph, at the meeting, at their next meeting, brought up the fact, they sent us a letter thanking you.
Oh, good, good.
Said, people use our building all the time. This is the first time anybody ever said thank you.
Thank you. Next, Commissioners, I need a motion for accounts payable and payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please. Oh, Michael. Any changes to the minutes, commissioners?
Go ahead and make a motion then to approve the minutes as written from the October 30th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written from the October 30th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if agendas look okay, commissioners?
We have a bunch of proclamations again.
I tell you,
Veterans Day.
it's been like a record this year, I think, with all the new ones we've had.
If you'd like, I could balance that out and we could find some other ones to do. Sure.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm sure.
I can make up some ones with some hashtags and.
Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
I think we got enough. Yeah, I'll agree.
Sounds good. Next we will have Elizabeth Ward for Human Resources Monthly Update at 9 o'clock. I do have gifts for the commissioners, the 2023 tax unit levy sheets. The front page is a lot of numbers, but just look at the back page. Those are all numbers we have to do and certify in our office for everyone to get the taxes that they want. So public entities, so.
You said gift.
Yeah, I'm going with
When did numbers become a gift?
Well, thanks for this nice gift.
Yeah, that is what staff has been working on for a long time. And it takes a tremendous amount of commissioners.
We'll have to get them some cookies. Still aren't over the cookie.
No, actually I am. I had some cookies the other night at the forum over in Albany. They were homemade. I couldn't say no. Spell's been broken.
Proudest,
I don't.
proud for Halloween, you probably don't like that, you don't.
Yeah, we don't get any.
You get any, I didn't know.
Yeah, we're mile
I know you're way out.
gravel road on a dead end.
And she teaches old, like we used to get them when Jan was teaching her kids.
Uh-huh.
We had 4.
And then, of course, when we had our kids, we took them, we all went to Riley,
Yeah.
a bunch of us families would get together and we'd all.
I'd say the west side, they said they get hundreds of kids. We get, like I say, ours, it's on the main street with no sidewalk. Nobody, we had 2 peoples,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Brandon's.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's girls by.
Growing up, we had, I think he was like the district or regional guy from Hallmark. So instead of giving out candy, he'd give out the little like Beanie Babies or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I've got like 2 boxes. He literally just lived right around the corner from you. I think we talked about that, didn't we? Yeah. Did you really? Yeah. Well, he lived back in the corner, tucked back there on the round corner there from just right behind you. Yeah, all of us kids made sure to hit that place. So we get Stuff, I've got a couple stuff, black cats and pumpkins and, yeah. I think it's-
Everybody has to get paid.
Being nostalgic, man, to go over standing in the corner where my bus stop was growing up there.
Sorry. And then they go to county. You're just like staring at me.
Oh, well, I realized I was patient to say hello.
It's, yeah, it's amazing.
Here they say the plant bus office is non-dischargeable.
If I didn't already say that.
Planes can totally. And if it only costs $15,000, it's sold.
We did down at the.
Yeah.
I think we have.
Oh, goodness.
That's why I just.
It's just.
That's what Wayne describes, which one. We'll see.
I'll try to get to that.
Yeah. You had more than my.
Oh, yeah, man, too.
Across the street.
I had a call.
That's a good warning, because you'll be astounded how loud it is. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
It's a little chilly coming over here, but I am holding out for that.
It's to get a little warmer today.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be closer to 70.
If any of you commissioners like good pears, Miss Ward has a awesome pear tree in Nebraska that she brings pears to me annually, and there's some in our office. They're better than any pear, and as big as any pear you can get in the store, and better tasting than any pear you can get in the store. They are amazing.
They are pretty amazing. Yeah, I've been throwing them out to the staff, we get a bite. I mean, this pear tree is just loaded, loaded. I brought 5-gallon buckets back, and Rich took probably, I don't know, a peck home, I suppose. It was probably
Yeah,
that.
and those pears are that big, and they are just sweet,
What kind
and
of-
they're delicious.
What kind?
Might be the first thing I take
They're
to
yellow
Nebraska
and
in
they're
years.
large, and I don't know if they're, I don't know, but I keep thinking I'm gonna get one of those apps to find out what kind of tree exactly it is, because it is a really good producer, and, probably has to do with the location and the shade and the,
It is
It
amazing.
doesn't know it's in Nebraska. And
It's very happy living in Nebraska.
I will have to say, even some of the pears, when they get really ripe, turn a little tender red.
Yeah.
And it makes them even juicier.
It actually does. And they get that,
They bruise a little bit easy, get injured a little bit.
they are amazing pears.
I'll have to try some.
Yeah, there's like a couple gallon over there,
Is
gallon and a
that
half,
okay?
so they're great for lunch. As
Because
a matter of fact, I brought one for lunch, and then you had a bucket, those that you brought in last week, and a bucket in there today, so.
I've been trying to dry them and then make like a pear, that sauce, kind of like an applesauce. But you have to be home and get some time to do it.
If you like pears, run by and get one, and there's donuts in the office too, so you have your choice.
Bars and donuts, so yeah, you can go, it's just like we talked about in employee day, you can go the healthy option or the donut option. The pears are so good, I chose pear. Yeah, that's pretty good.
it's good, because the ones you buy in the store,
Yeah, no.
Oh, these are amazing.
yeah.
And then we start harvesting when they're crisp, so they're crisp and crunchy and they're still good, and then they start, getting soft and sweet, and they're so good that way too.
Been having one for lunch every day this week.
Keep it. There's a pear, there's a pear, there's a pear.
You got to cleaned out my Christmas the other day, so that's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They last really good, yeah.
Ready, commissioners?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and we have been talking about doing a human resources update for a while, and so now we are going to start doing this, and I've got some things that I think will help the commissioners make decisions on the personnel side. If you want to see a little bit different information or something tweaked as we go by, you can just let me know. So some of the things I just want to touch on here is, and we've talked about it before, but the objectives of HR. So we're trying to look at how do we manage talent management, training and development, compliance, which we obviously partner with the counselor's office on that, compensation and benefits. We've been focusing on that quite a bit in the last 2 years, and workplace safety. And we do a lot of partnering with different departments, particularly public works, on that. And EMS.
So here is a snapshot of what we're looking at right now. So our current head count, and this would have been as of Tuesday, is 286 regular employees. And I know you guys remember, but I'll remind everybody that regular means are non-seasonal, non-as needed. So the elections, the fire, those are in that seasonal stipend category. So we also currently have 386 seasonal stipend employees, which is mostly going to be our elections and fire. And that's going to vary greatly depending on the season and particularly with elections. So the hires this current month, we have had 11 in our regular employees and 20 in our seasonal. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of those elections people are not new hires. We leave them on as employees and they come back for the season. So that wouldn't necessarily reflect that they're now active versus non-active. Over the current year, we've had 64 regular employees and 51 seasonal employees. And then if you look at separations for a comparison, so this month I like to compare 11 new hires to 5 separations. The year, 64 new hires to 52 separations. So we're ahead, and that's going to be things like if we didn't have a position filled. Right. So we had a position that was open over between December and January. It's also going to be some of those grant positions that we had come open. So we had positions, like in the health department, things like that. And our turnover rate annually then is 18.6%. And that's kind of, you're going to kind of have to watch that over a trend. All right. So that's something that you are going to have to keep track of, not just a snapshot, not just one day. The average turnover or average tenure, I think, is something that's actually more impactful for Riley County because that has continued to go down over the last decade. So our tenure right now, although is probably spectacular for most private organizations, is quite a bit lower than what we're used to. So 9.1 years is our average tenure. All right, and then something that Michelle and I know Rich is proud of as well is our current openings. We have 3 current openings, and that does not include our volunteer openings because that's always open. It doesn't necessarily include so we've got volunteer fire, we've got our community health department has a community volunteer position that's always open, but those are our actual positions that are open, doing really well. And of that, one of those has an offer out. So
I thought Public Works still had.
And Public Works you would have seen them open, but they've already been accepted. The offer's already been accepted.
Oh, okay.
And they're already doing.
Saying you had a couple open.
Yeah, and they're already doing onboarding, so I didn't include that. Yeah, I mean, they are not physically here. The employee's not physically here yet, but we don't have the job open yet. Good catch. All right, so this is something, and the numbers are kind of small on that screen, and hopefully you're able to see in your packet, but just kind of so that you're aware of where we're kind of seeing. So demographically, we have about 71% of our employees are hourly, then about 29% are salary, which is about right. You generally think about people who have a higher responsibility level, who have more autonomy, being in that salary level. And then I do think it's interesting to see we've got about between 74 and 75% regular full-time, and then our EMS, our PRN, our temporary part-time, you can kind of see the breakdown there. With us, we do have that regular part-time category, which is going to be considered part of our regular wages. They do get benefits. They do through all of the other items that some employee gets, and that's based on our own policies. And then generationally, we spent a lot of time talking about this, so I thought it might be interesting just to see a snapshot of our employees. So we've got our baby boomers in orange, our millennials, Generation X, sorry. It couldn't be better if I planned it, right? Because Generation X is always the forgotten generation, right? So,
and we're still not on top here. We're still
I know
0.3%.
But that is interesting, right? Because Generation X,
I'm actually in that.
I know. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
66.
And nationally, Generation X is currently the biggest group of employees. Millennials are a bigger group of people, but baby boomers, we actually hold on to the baby boomers longer than most industries, so.
But see, millennials, just like when we had Commissioner Ben Wilson, who was a millennial and very young, the commissioner would often rib him a little, you know. They're equal percentage, but it takes two of them to fulfill one job, so.
Nice job.
He's not even here to defend himself, poor man.
That's what the commission and I used to always give him about, and it takes two of you to fill one job.
Yeah, it's stick a man when he's down, but it's such an easier target.
And then our Generation Z, you know, it's interesting to think about. I mean, those are people who were born after 1995, and they're already 14% of our workforce here. So it's just something to be aware of that is going to be moving. That circle is going to be continually moving.
Do we technically not have the next generation of you? Part-time roles?
Not so
13,
not that
they 1 in 10, they're after 11, they'd be what, 12?
yeah.
Until we 13, yeah,
12
after 2010.
What is that one called?
Oh gosh.
They're saying Generation A at this moment, but who knows, but. Actually,
Running out of clever name.
Yeah, I don't think they have a name with it too, but I can't.
well, I thought Generation A started actually in 2007, so maybe I'm off.
So I'll tell you, John, if you go to different sources, they have
Right.
different ages for them. They kind of.
Mhm, they do.
So that would be 16, which should be because they're in a part-time.
We looked at all the letters before X.
Well, actually, Generation Z are called Zoomers. That's their.
Zoomers?
Yeah.
And Generation X was because.
Generation A, if you know any of them, I've already given them an adjective.
Oh,
I just can't
Oh,
say it here.
Yeah, okay, because 10th generation in the US.
Oh, really? Did not know that.
They haven't put another adjective.
The Roman numeral.
They were like forgotten.
It is from 2010 to 2024 is Generation Alpha.
Alpha. Boy, that better be some performers.
I got a different adjective, but I can't say it either.
When did generation, you see boomers, it used to be about 20 was considered generation, now they're cutting it down to 15, everything changed. to 15.
Everything changed. I think the thing is the greatest generation and then the baby boomers, they're really with like life
Events, yeah.
defined it. And it really there were great differences in our generation. And then it kind of started meshing together.
Right.
And I mean, really, I don't know if there's gonna be major things that differentiate between X and A or, you know. But we'll see. The pandemic generation.
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause there's quite a difference between the baby boomers and the millennials age-wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a gap in there. What do you call those?
But
Oh, so that's your X.
That's the
Yeah,
X.
go to the right there, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, there we
Once
go.
again, forgot that. Thank you.
That's John and Rich.
They don't even get a part on the
No.
chart, they just have an asterisk.
Yeah.
See below.
Someone was here.
Yeah.
Those are our first latchkey kids. The Generation X was like the kids who had to take care of themselves and start raising themselves.
That is
Those are the first
true.
generation.
That
whose
is so true.
parents-
Absolutely 100% true.
That's the first generation whose parents both work for more.
I mean, there had to be a PSA on every night to remind them that, hey, you've got kids. Do you know where they're at?
And most of the time they did not.
That's
That's correct.
A lot of them are workhorses
No
too.
news is good news. Yeah, they learned to just do it themselves. They are considered to be hard workers. Okay, so we've also been talking about succession planning, so I thought I'd mention that. So we are in succession planning, we focus on 3 points: who's eligible to retire, who would be eligible to replace them, and then what is the KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that we would need to train to get those people to that spot. And I mean, a lot of times we think about director level, but really we're thinking about anything that can't be trained at that entry level, anything above that. How would we place the supervisor, the manager, those types of things? I shared this via email with you guys a couple of weeks ago. So 37 employees, which is 14%, are eligible to retire. Does not mean that they're planning to or that they've notified us, just eligible this year now, right now, could retire. And 64 will be eligible within 5 years. So 24% of our workforce, again, does not mean that they will. We do have a lot of employees who work well past either their capers retirement or the age of 65, which, you know, would be their federal retirement. So we, but
66, you know.
66, yeah.
66 in a couple of months.
Social Security says 74.
Well, and it's sliding, right? Yeah, so it's
Right, yeah, 6 and 7.
right. So depending what they choose, how they choose to plan their retirement, but
Lottery. I'm paying the lottery.
lottery. I think you better have a secondary plan.
No, that's much money.
But I think these are things that I'm trying to work with the department heads and think about, okay, who do you have, who do we need to have in the right places, and what are the training that we need to provide to be able to get them there. And so those are good conversations to be having with those department heads as well. So we do have a breakdown per department, and that's what I was just saying. We're working with department heads to think about in your department who's eligible to replace those that are retiring and what training do they need to be successful. And that's the point. We can't make them into a clone of, for example, Clancy's, let us know that he is potentially intending to retire
2 years.
in 2 years.
Potential.
Potentially 2 years.
I don't remember.
Maybe something in writing.
Yeah, something happened with that notice. I don't know.
So what do we need to fill that? All right, and then so that you are aware of the other area of performance development, you guys already had a report on this, but the annual employee day, one of the things I wanted to focus on from the HR for performance and development, not only was it a successful day as far as team building, but we focused on individual leadership and responsibility was the point of what we were trying to develop there. And also 2024 workforce success. What do we need to be successful as a whole workforce and working as a team? So problem resolution. And really that's when I talk about teamwork, that's what my focus is how are we going to resolve problems together? How do we see each other as someone that we can work with, not someone who's on a conflict on the other side of a conflict? We also are planning, that same employee training work group is planning quarterly CPR training, so more of a hands-on response training, comprehensive onboarding. So that group wants to work on establishing a more in-depth onboarding training, which might include some welcome kits from REACH. It might include some information from IT that would really be a little bit more hands-on on how you do the multi-factor and what it means to be safe at Riley County. A little bit more information from HR is like as far as how do you run Paylocity and your software and your day-to-day things, and more. And we've got some people involved in some employees and some department heads involved in that. And then we've also had department heads ask about supervisor training. So this same employee training work group is thinking about how can we do supervisor training as far as like the software. How do I schedule? How do I have difficult conversations? How do I manage teams? What are the laws that I need to be aware of to be compliant in those kinds of things? We are still participating in the Flint Hills Regional Leadership. So that really is more of a cooperative program among the 4 counties. It's really to identify and motivate leaders in our region. So Amanda Webb was our participant in 2023. And we have 2 people in 2023 participating in NACO, which is a little bit different focus. That's going to focus on the best practices in leadership, organizational development, and change management. So both Julie Gibbs and Corey Meyer are participating. And I would expect that we will have, at the beginning of 24, we'll have a kind of an overview of their experience. So we just finished open enrollment. Today's the 2nd. It ended up midnight on the 31st. So Michelle had 2 benefits fair where she brought in vendors, all of our vendors, and had them available for all of our employees. She held those at the health department and here at the BOCC. They were well advertised. Then she had individual employee meetings. She herself went and made herself available at Public Works and just individually spoke with any employee and helped them get registered. All of those benefit fairs were available not only here live, people could come to them, but she had them on Zoom so they could watch them from their desk. And she also recorded them and put them in the W drive so people could go back and get that information at their own time. So as of Tuesday, we had 269 employees who completed their enrollment. As of today, we had 6 people who had not completed AFLAC. And of those, we'll be able to help 4 of them still. And I think we had any SEHP.
Just one.
I was gonna say 2, but one who did not complete their state enrollment. And there's not much we can do about that. So they will have coverage. It will be an automatic assignment by the state. But they got a lot of notifications. I don't know if you guys were getting those calls, but they got a lot of notifications. So we all got we all had a good fair chance to be able to do that, and it's not different from previous years. And you can do it 24 hours a day from work or from home, so. But and also, we haven't had any complaints, so perhaps the one person is fine with what they got. November is performance review month, which is everyone's favorite HR month. So department heads have decided to use one form for all of the departments, and it has been assigned to every employee. The due date for completion of the employee self-evaluation, the supervisor evaluation, and final submittal in Paylocity is December 8th. We've been talking about this in the department head meetings for now 3 months, so they've all been able to take training on Paylocity. We've designed the form together, and we are moving forward. We have had a couple glitches, like the wrong reviewer was assigned to Paylocity and things like that we're working through with each department, but still plenty of time to be able to make that happen. We will talk about the department head evaluations later today, and you guys can make a decision on how you want to handle that for 2023. The other upcoming focus is the personnel manual. So the current manual was approved in 2012, but there have been several resolutions added since then, which are not actually part of the manual. They're just the resolutions that are saved in a file that you would have to look up individually. So a small work group has revised the updated proposal. So we've gone through and looked at every single policy. And now I am working on combining the edits and updates. Clancy is working on a couple compliance portions that are very specific to, we need to do them correctly and legally. I expect to present to the department heads in January, the proposed manual. And then I would hope to present to the commissioners by the end of the first quarter of 24. The department heads will have to have a chance to review and look at it. And if they have extensive edits, I guess that date could be pushed, but I would imagine with that work group, and then we have an employment lawyer reading it, that we would be pretty close.
Is it shrinking?
It is shrinking. That's our.
It is.
Yeah, that was when you first brought this up a year or two ago. You said that's one of the things that it's a pretty good volume again.
It is, yeah. And I've learned, because I've been, really working on this and then working locally, we are in pretty good standing. I think our CPDs, which Michael and I talked about, is over 1,100 pages. Yeah, and I got from their manager, and the cities is some massive amount as well, so well over ours, but it's not realistic. It's not realistic for an employee to know what's in the manual at 300 plus pages. Yeah. And there's a lot of duplicates. So there's like this talked about here, and then it's talked about here. You don't need that to find it in 3 places. So that's our hope. Yeah. The employment lawyer that we talked with recommended no more than 80 pages. I think that would be awesome, but we'll see where we're at. So that was the thing that I thought would be the most helpful for you to make decisions. Is there anything else that you think, or you don't have to even give it to me now, but if you want to drop me, hey, this is HR stuff that I would like to know, personnel stuff, however, that would help me make a better decision. I mean, I know you see all the personnel actions, but you don't necessarily see a combined snapshot. So anything that you would like to see, if you want to see numbers, if you want to see how that relates to the budget, whatever you'd like to see, I can put in this for the next month.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate this. This really helps us understand what's going on in HR, and I think this is a great report. So thank you.
And if you want different projects, you want something worked on, then this is the time to make sure I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Commissioners.
All you. Thank you, commissioners.
Want me to upload your?
Just feeling really. My nose is cold. When it gets cold, I'm cold.
Perfect.
It feels like the air conditioning on, which is silly.
That was great. Pretty nice. Yeah. Been pretty hot for a while.
Well, yeah, it was. Yes.
No, it's not me.
Is it? Maybe it's these windows over here that are leaking.
Yeah, you always get fresh air. Our fresh air return is great in this building.
Well,
Not in August when it's 112. It's
You got
not.
the windows and you got this door.
So
right
it should be
here.
here.
Yeah,
Well, we
door.
gotta switch things around because I always get cold, of course.
I can show you pictures from several floods that I've seen. We can wait for that to happen.
Yeah, and that door over there.
Was that? Oh, I've never seen that.
I have in real time. I have.
They're like, where's that water coming
Yeah,
from?
there's a river coming in here.
Ready,
Now that
Michael?
talks about some weeds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Bowler with the Raleigh County Noxious Weed Staff Update. My presentation probably won't be so.
We don't have pictures.
Yeah, and engaging. So they've done such an excellent job. I really enjoyed watching that presentation as well. I unfortunately, or maybe to some degree, are a little bit more of a simple man, and I just kind of type it out. So I hope we can go over this and will be appropriate, but it's a hard act to follow. So on the noxious weed side, our fall solid spray in sections 1 and 3 were completed in October, and we will continue to do that in the spring. We do that every year. Our final mowing of the year, we were really ahead of schedule. However, when we do the third round of mowing, there becomes problems with some of the mechanical aspects of it because we're on a higher grade, we get closer to the fence. And the good bucks have decided to drop a lot of their antlers right alongside the fence, which turns out to be a perfect puncture thing for a tractor tire. And when you get on a flat on a tractor tire, it's just not something you just instantly change on the side of the road. It's a day or two before we can get that repaired. So we've had several of those. And we've also had a situation where our mower slid down a fairly deep embankment and broke the drive shaft in half. So that's just part of getting out and getting the third round. We just have a lot more mechanical failures when we do that. And unfortunately, this year we've had our fair share. And but the good news is we're not behind. Now we're just about right on schedule for getting the third round completed. Tree trimming along roadways will begin in late November. We generally work with the public works on that. We don't have any specific area of focus this year, which is a good thing because we've been staying up on a lot of the tree trimming, and so we don't have any specific areas we're going to be focusing on, but we will be doing some tree trimming. Sprayers and spray rentals are in the process of being winterized. And then we are also in the process of changing over our trucks from spray trucks to snow plows. And that is obviously subject to change very quickly. I was a little worried last weekend, they were talking about a snow mix. So we'll probably get that underway here fairly quickly so we can help assist, of course, when we get snow to clear. The good news on the noxious weed and the hazardous waste side that all of our trucks and equipment were within our service lifespan currently, and so we didn't see a need to ask for any major purchases for the 2023 CIP. So happy that we've got good equipment that's updated. Probably looking at a tractor maybe next year, but decided this year with budget stating, okay, I would set this one out. So happy that we're doing well in that area. On the HHW side, we will be doing a collection at Howie's Recycling on November 11th. It's actually Veterans Day, but we will be open. Howie's is open, and we do have a lot of folks that are just out and about for the Veterans Day parade. They can kind of do 2 stones at once and come and bring their waste to us and go see the parade. So it's actually fairly busy.
Parade's on Friday.
Oh, parade's on Friday. Oh, okay. So, but the actual Veterans Day itself is Saturday. Okay. All right. Well, we'll still have lots of folks out and about. We've chosen to be open, I guess.
So it's be nice both days too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recognize it here.
On Saturdays, why didn't I put it on Friday?
I see. What's on Saturday that is Saturday?
Football game.
Yeah, Texas game.
Oh.
It's in the morning too.
Okay, that makes.
It's a home game next.
Texas is this week.
Texas this week.
The Baylor game in the morning.
Baylor is over there.
I
thought I saw 11 o'clock. So.
Yeah, that's this game.
Well, I'm talking both games.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was 11 o'clock too, is what I saw. But
That completely makes sense. Every time we plan on anything, first thing we ask to do is see what, is there a basketball game or football?
Yeah.
That dictates when you schedule. So that makes sense. The main point is that we will be open for that. The Raleigh County HHW, as always, we've got a lot of recycled paint right now. Crazy popular, lots of folks coming out to get paint and other items. Just a reminder, we're open 7:30 to 4 to pick that up. And our final Clean Harbors clean out is scheduled for November 21st. Good news is that I believe we are going to be within our Big Lakes budget. As the commissioners are aware, we also serve 10 other counties and we set a separate budget for the clean outs on that. And so the good news is commissioners in those counties will be happy that it does not look like we're going to be going over budget and probably not going to have a need to raise the Big Lakes budget again this year. So happy about that with the cost rising to be able to keep that budget flat is a big win for us. The Noctis Weed Department will be assisting the election staff this year for the deployment and retrieval. And also have some staff going to be helping the day of the election, and we're very happy to do that. It is a busy time of year for elections, and that obviously is a big priority for us. There's some changes this year, but we're prepared for that, and hopefully that will go smoothly. And finally, I did have the opportunity to attend the Save Branch Farm open house there on the 31st. Amazing program that they do. They help veterans or just retiring military and help teach them farming and ranching. And so we have a pretty close connection to them as well as our department serves the agriculture community quite a bit. So I had the opportunity to be there, and there were some VIPs there that I got to have lunch with and shake hands with. So great opportunity, fascinating thing that they do. So just wanted to mention that I had the opportunity to attend.
It was on my calendar too, but work-related stuff took me away from sure I couldn't make it out there.
Very, very interesting what they did. It was a fun open house, and the brisket was amazing.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For county numbers is so much more fun than that.
And with that, commissioners, simple to the point. No big concerns this month. Everything seems to be right on schedule, and no major needs or wants or complaints from us. So if you have any questions about us, I'd be happy to answer.
That's good.
Have a good rest of your morning, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Next, Commissioner Amanda Webb at 9:30. Those people to stand up sometimes. Huh?
Yeah.
What man doing?
Well, how are you?
I suppose my homework where I'm crawling on the floor right now.
Oh.
Floor in the bathroom, the half bath.
What are you putting in?
But tile, got already toward the end. But I'm getting it all cut, and now we gotta stick it down. That inner mold.
Yeah. You know, tile looks nice. I like tile in bathrooms.
And Janet's seen it somewhere. We got, little extra white with the little black dots.
Oh, so
Lights on it, and she got cut some sheets.
Oh, okay, good.
Sheet.
Three made sheets. Okay, so it's not as bad as, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Well, that's good.
Space, because I mean, it's got little rubber
Mesh underneath
they
it.
put them together.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that little,
A couple of things, not had. Any even cut yet, just got. They're small enough. This base will cover it. I can just cut it like this, but the base covers it.
perfect. Perfect.
When they cut off too small.
Yeah, the less work, the better.
Yeah.
Are we
That didn't work.
meeting today or Monday?
We talked about today,
Okay.
but if you need to move to Monday, that's perfectly fine.
No, I can do today. I can just meet up in ears. I gotta run by the clerk's office and
Yeah.
take care of something.
Yep, whenever you wanna.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just forgot to write it down, that's all.
No worries.
And did you change your meeting date for the comp plan in Keats to Monday instead of Wednesday?
So,
I know the Lions, because they called me, they said that the Lions Club had to change to Monday.
yes, so we're scheduled with the Lions Club on Monday.
Okay, because I had it down for like Wednesday.
Oh, okay, yeah, Monday. We did have to move our location because of course the election equipment's gonna be in there, so we'll be at the community center, but instead of the church area.
Yeah, she said you'd be, he said, yeah, you'd be at the park, he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keats
The
Park.
park,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to verify.
For Amanda, commissioners?
Right, good morning, Commissioners, Amanda Webb, Planning Director. So wanted to talk a little bit about long-range planning and then the joint planning we do between the city and county. As you remember, a few weeks ago on the 16th, Stephanie and I were here to do a comprehensive plan amendment, a Manhattan urban area comprehensive plan amendment. They were doing a few changes to their future land use map, urban service boundary, and then removing references to a couple documents in there. Just with some of the questions you folks had, just kind of made me think maybe we should have a little conversation, make sure everybody's clear about again, how we work with the city for some of the planning that we do, and then just long range planning in general. So just to start out, and some of this you folks probably already know, so apologies if I'm telling you because you already know, but we'll just run through it anyway, and of course ask questions as you have them. So long range plans, of course, are just that. They look over a certain amount of time, usually at something fairly specific or in a specific area. Your transportation plans, your sub area plans, parks planning, all of those are types of long range plans. What do you want the parks to do over the 10, 20, 30 years of the county, that kind of thing. The master food plan that you all reviewed and adopted, I believe in 21, which seems crazy, it was that long ago. That's a long range plan, of course, for the food system in Riley County. The city's downtown tomorrow and beyond tomorrow downtown, I might have gotten that mixed up. Plans are, of course, long range planning documents specific to downtown, and the next, I believe the original one was 20. I can't quite recall what they're, maybe if it's the same horizon or not on the state plan, but those are long range plans, of course, that plan for the downtown core and what they wanted to do over the next few years. So of course, as these are long range plans, there are certain assumptions we have to make. We talk about, okay, what do we want? For example, what do we want the park system to look like in 20 years from now? Do we want more parks? Where should they go? Et cetera, et cetera. And the public tells us, yes, we want more parks. Okay, so we start planning, okay, we'll put one here, or we'll expand this here, that sort of thing. But when you look out so far, again, you can only, assume so much. You don't really know what's going to happen along the way. So not all of the action items within long range plans always come to fruition within that time period. Some of them, maybe they've just been deemed not feasible, or new things have emerged in the 5 or 10 years after the plan was written, and that's not really what we meant or what we wanted with this action. So not necessarily everything's going to happen that you outline in that plan. And then when we update long range plans, that gives us the chance to look at those action items, look at the objectives and goals, all of that were in that plan, and anything that wasn't completed, or really honestly anything that was, we can evaluate and determine, are these still valid? Do we need to include these in our update? Why didn't this get accomplished? Is there another way it can get accomplished? Do we have to change it? That sort of thing. So that's long range planning in a nutshell. Comprehensive planning is, of course, a version of long range planning, but it's just that, a little bit more comprehensive, more broad. It's relates to the whole county, not just a specific area, and it also includes all the different elements: your transportation, your land use, housing, economic development. All those different sorts of things are in the comprehensive plan. But it's the same kind of idea. We're looking out over a certain amount of years. Of course, in this case, with our new comprehensive plan, you folks wanted a 15-year horizon, so we're looking out through 2040 again for the entire county with all these different elements within this plan. So, and of course, the other long range plans we have, like the master food plan, should get referenced or incorporated in some manner into our comprehensive plan. We want the long range plans that we have, the specific ones, to coordinate with our comprehensive plan. They should work together and be supportive of together. So our current comprehensive plan, Vision 2025, as y'all know, was adopted in 2009, and we are working on our major update. This, of course, covers all land within the unincorporated area. So there's several attachments that I included with this report, and we'll go through those in just a minute. I included the county's future land use map there, and we'll look at that in just a minute.
The Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan was adopted by their update. They did an update in 2015 of their 2003 plan. Was adopted by both entities, both the city of Manhattan and Riley County in 2015. And that plan covers all land within their future land use map, which is included in your packet. We'll go through in just a minute. And so, of course, there's overlap between the cities, the future land use map and the county's future land use maps are kind of jointly planning for a certain area that falls within the county, of course, right now. But the city of Manhattan has determined that's the area that they're most likely to grow. So they do comprehensive planning for that area. So we need to, of course, make sure that we are consistent, we coordinate with what's going to happen in that area. They do need to be consistent. So we have an interlocal agreement for joint planning between the city of Manhattan and Riley County. This was actually 1976, this was created. It created the joint planning board, the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board from the 70s. The most recent iteration of this ILA, the interlocal agreement, was February 2001, and it is in perpetuity until it's canceled by either entity. So either entity can terminate the agreement, but you have to provide notice by March of the preceding year. If January 1 goes by and nobody's said, hey, I want to cancel, it continues at least for that year until somebody by March 1st says, hey, I want to cancel this. Again, it's been in effect since 2001.
It's like the gift that keeps giving today.
We put a note on the door that says in meeting, quiet, please.
Quiet zone.
Quiet zone, yeah.
Yeah. It's working fairly well. So again, it's been in effect for that long and not really be updated since that time. So the urban area, it is a defined space and it's agreed upon by both entities. It's included within the interlocal agreement, and we have an attachment we'll talk about in a second for those boundaries. The area, the urban area itself can be amended by the written agreement of both parties if that needs to change. And in the urban area, the city's subdivision regulations apply and the county's zoning regulations apply. And as we talked about, based on this interlocal agreement and according to KSA 12-747, which is comprehensive planning statute, both the city of Manhattan and Riley County must adopt a joint urban area comprehensive plan for this area. Of course, the city's comprehensive plan covers the city as well as urban area and then their comprehensive plan boundary. And because of, again, the interlocal agreement, we have to review it and adopt it as well, which we have been doing. And the ILA further stipulates that it goes through the Manhattan Planning Board, that is our joint planning board, for review any new comprehensive plan, of course, already in existence, or any amendments there too, would go to the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board, then come to you folks, and then of course also the City Commission. So you both entities need to approve any amendments to that joint comprehensive plan, and that's per the agreement we have with them.
It does say in here about Potawatomi County is not part of the ILA.
Yes, correct.
And doesn't have, so has that been amended? That has not been amended, right?
Correct. So the interlocal agreement we have, from 2001, is just between City of Manhattan and Riley County. They do not have anything similar with Potawatomi County. I don't really know why they don't, honestly. I don't know if the county's just does, I'm not sure. But Potawatomi County is not part of our ILA, nor do they have their own ILA with the city. So they're not required to do the same things with Pot County as they are with us because we have that interlocal agreement in place. So with Pot County, all they need to do with their comprehensive plan is essentially provide them a copy for their records. Potawatomi County doesn't have any jurisdiction over their plan, doesn't really have any means to review or approve or anything like that. And again, that's just because we have the interlocal agreement in place. That's what our relationship is with the city versus what Pot County is.
So when the city annexes into Pot County, that doesn't include How does that work? I mean, if they annex into Pot County, then we're not responsible for
Correct.
that kind of thing. Okay.
Right, yeah, anything, of course, outside of Riley County, we'll talk about annexations in a minute, but
Okay.
anything outside Riley County, of course.
We don't have any responsibility for it.
Right, exactly. That's a little funky,
Except law enforcement.
right? Yeah.
Sorry. Good.
I know.
Resist.
Well, I
Well,
don't want that to be either. So,
I don't know, do they have a separate agreement?
yeah, by statute
By statute.
technically, but we can work out of that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least for, I don't know about law enforcement, but at least for planning purposes, Pot County could join our ILA or have their own ILA with the city if they choose to.
They're not joining ours, I can tell you that.
Right, I'm just saying that that's a possibility if everybody agreed to it. Yeah, not that it would necessarily happen, but that is something they could inquire about doing. And then, they would have their own agreement with how that would have to work, so. The Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board, that is our joint planning board. That's what was originally established in the 1970s when we agreed to cooperatively, that's a big word, plan within the urban area. So for anything outside of city limits that's within the urban area, those applications come into our office here in Riley County, but then they go before that joint planning board. And then they come to you folks for final decision, final approval. So that's just the difference. We would take it to the joint planning board rather than the Riley County Planning Board. Anything outside of the urban area and outside of city limits goes to our planning board and then comes to you folks for final review. Let's see. So as we talked about last time, 3 members, so it's a 7-member joint planning board. 3 members are appointed by the county and 3 members are appointed by the city, and then 1 member is alternating. Each entity, every time that comes up, appoints that position. And I have listed there who belongs to each entity, if you will. Hannah Fair, John Ball, and Phil Anderson were appointed by Riley County, and it was our turn to appoint the alternating position. So we appointed Debbie Nuss, who I believe she is filling Neil Parik's unexpired term. So it was our turn to appoint that position. Next time when that one's up, it'll be the city's turn to appoint that position. And I also have listed there who the 3 members are that the city appointed, just so you can see, who belongs to who, if you will. And that we appoint 3 and they appoint 3 and then alternate the 7. And that's again, because we are a joint planning board. So we both entities need to have appointees, if you will, serving on that board.
How long are their terms?
Oh, goodness, I should know that. I think 3.
I think it's 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they staggered? So like the 3
Yes.
can last, it's
Yes.
1 each year.
Yeah,
but
they're
They aren't all
staggered.
3 at once, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Right, so moving along, extraterritorial jurisdiction, I have to say that slowly. So we talked a little bit about this last time as well. Yeah, no, I was extraterrestrial. So we talked about this a little bit last time as well. With the question about there's a House Bill 2050 that's seeking to essentially repeal the concept of extraterritorial jurisdiction. And what that is a city's authority, if you will, to exercise their regulations within the 3-mile radius outside city limits, inside a county, but of course outside the city's limits. They are authorized to do that by the state. This House bill is seeking to remove that. However, because Riley County is zoned, and also because we already have the interlocal agreement in place, this doesn't impact us. We have a defined urban area that, again, the city's subdivision regulations apply, our zoning still does. So this doesn't impact us at all. We don't have this tool, if you will, because we already have our interlocal agreement in Riley County zoned. So regardless of the outcome of this bill, and I couldn't find where it was, it seemed like it's still kind of hanging out there. It won't, whether it passes or not, it's not gonna it's not gonna impact Riley County, and it's not gonna impact city of Manhattan, so we have the kind in place already.
The smaller cities, doesn't affect them.
It would be the same thing. Riley County is zoned. So it's gonna be more of those counties that don't have zoning. So technically, any of the cities can come and say, hey, we want to exercise this tool, but there's a whole process they would have to go through. They can't just come to us and say, nope, this 3 mile radius is now ours. It's a process you have to work through, but again, because we are zoned,
It doesn't have to be affect
less
here.
applicable. Yeah, exactly. So annexations, we talked a little bit about that last time as well. So essentially, annexations of land not adjacent to city boundaries, i.e. your island annexations, those things like that. There's a certain statute that applies which requires the request to go before you folks first. You have to make findings that approval of said annexation is not going to hinder or prevent proper growth in the area of annexation or in any of the incorporated cities within the county. This does not apply if the land abuts city boundaries. So if it's something they are annexing and it already has that border with the city, they can do that. It does not come to us. So it's only if it's not already sharing some form of boundary with the city limits that they would then have to come to us for us to make those findings. So that's why you folks had to review the MCM annexation earlier this year. It was an island. It was an island connecting to an island, actually.
Yeah.
It was connecting to the airport property. And it was also outside the urban area. So there was a couple of things happening with that one that you folks needed to review because of those things. So when those don't apply again, when it abuts city boundaries, that won't come before you because it's already an urban area, it already abuts the city, and the statute allows them to annex those in without review with you folks. So that's the difference there. That's why we don't see them a whole lot, because generally, of course, they're annexing things that abut city limits, or they're annexing in Pot County, and of course, you folks aren't involved with that anyway. So that's why you happen to see you had to review MCM's request versus any others that we might have had. Questions on that? Okay, so I have a few attachments in your packet that we can go through really quick. So I've attached the 2001 interlocal agreement, so you can see all of that there. And of course, that outlines who does what and why and where it's all coming from, and again, how you terminate, how you change, all of that sort of stuff. It's got an old map in there, and I believe it has reference to the original 1970s agreement in here. And it's been amended a few times by each party over the years. And again, 2001 is the most recent one that took all of those amendments in, and that's the, of course, current agreement. So we have the map there. I believe, yeah. So yeah, just the different agreements over the years that they've had for the joint planning within the urban area. So this one here in 1976, that was the first one. That was when it originally came about. And again, been amended a little bit since then by both parties, but everything is current as of our 2001 agreement. I'm almost done, so I'm almost out of time. So a few maps in here for you folks. For this map, the Manhattan urban area planning boundary is the blue line, and Manhattan city limits is the red line. You know, it's a little bit hard to see. So you can see where the city limits are and some of those random pockets of county-owned property and some of the islands and whatnot. But then you can see the urban area in the blue. So anything outside of the red line, but inside of the blue line comes to us and goes to the joint planning board. Our zoning regulations apply, but their subdivision regulations apply.
For now.
for now.
So what's
That's how
the,
we're doing it now.
what is the green line
That's Kanza.
down,
On the bottom.
down towards the bottom,
Yeah, it's here.
right in?
That's that's Kanza.
That's
That's
good.
the
Hard to see.
Okay, so that's.
This next map, which is large. This is their future land use map. So you'll see how the boundaries of this map, this is from their comprehensive plan, the boundaries of this map extend further out than even the urban area. Because that's the area that they are long range planning for, that they're comprehensive planning for, that they anticipate growing in. That doesn't mean within their 20-year horizon, every single bit of this is going to be annexed and filled in, but this is what they're anticipating growing in that amount of time. And then the purple line here is the urban service boundary. Now, this is the 2015 map, so it's not updated as per the amendment you folks approved a few weeks ago. If you remember, we did a little change with the urban service boundary to match that up as it needed to be. But that's what the purple line in this picture represents, the urban service boundary for the city, again, where they expect to extend services at some point in the future. And then last map is our future land use map. This is from Riley County Comprehensive Plan Vision 2025. This is our current future land use map. As I mentioned before, there of course is some overlap here. We're both kind of, again, jointly planning for some areas within the county that's within the city's comprehensive plan. So we just want to make sure that we're consistent. So again, this is from 2009. So some updating will need to happen to reflect what they've done in 2015. But this is our future land use map. Little orange around the little cities, those are designated growth areas. And of course, you can see those noise zones and then city Manhattan and K-State properties. So I think that is all that I have. So I know I'm a little over time, but any questions? And I know that was a lot in 20 minutes. You all already know where to find me. So please come visit or call me or email me if I can answer anything or help with anything else. That was just a really quick crash course. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Commissioners, real quickly before Ann comes up, Ron Fear cannot make it today. Wondered if the board would entertain seeing if Elizabeth can move up to 10:30 to save a half hour of sitting around,
Yes.
or
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. Can you move your time up today to 10:30 because Ron Fear can't be here to get the commissioners in? If you would send out an email to department heads, because I think they had some interest, just to let them know the time's been changed. Thank you. Bye. Sounds good. 10:30. Ann, I think the board's ready for you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I think it's gonna warm up a little bit today. It's not quite as frosty today. So long time no see. It's October, November is our rural 5311 grant cycle underway at KDOT. And so we're preparing those grants. Most of our funding from Riley County, we're using in our Ogden services and even our Northern Riley County. The vast majority of that we fund with our 5307 funding now, but we wanted to still come before you and ask for a letter of support because there's always some overlap between some of those rural services and our urban services. Nothing in particular new and fascinating in terms of what we're asking from KDOT. They're telling all of us providers to basically not ask for more money this upcoming year. We're going to be talking to them about asking KDOT to consider asking the legislature for more state funding. Because the cost of vehicles is just absolutely eating everybody alive. And there's gonna have to be a solution, so. KDOT's being very conservative with the money, which I appreciate, but for all of us providers, that means that our budgets are gonna be tight, so. And that's basically all I have. To entertain any questions for you, if you have any of those.
You have any questions?
I don't.
I don't either.
Go ahead and make a motion to approve a letter of support for grants for Adibus.
A second.
So moved and seconded to support letter of support for grants for Adibus. All in favor? Aye.
All three sign, please. Thank you, Ann.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Jerry's the one.
Okay.
I don't think it's.
Actually, man, the web at 10.
Don't run away. You got me. City, I guess. What you think? We forced that. The person tried to do their. It's something, but it's county. It's a kind of thing. State has, there were, it's, in my language, more. Yeah. People stuck to want to use that. Started on that, then my brain, and they won't go to the, district and. Okay. So that's what I find out doing this, because like the arson case. It reinforced that. Really, come on, it's by the way, it's. Going to the town that, they said it needed to be 40, anything at 45 or something, that, of course. Sort of safety is better. I give up change. I know, I don't know, change. Well, it's like you. So you should have some school board. But 10 years ago, it's going to visit with us 65. And we get one change 45 and with that.
I mean, look at the Kansas have draft up a resolution. I'm not, I'm on the fence of whether, but I'm not a recommendation.
Okay.
We were out, I had after a couple mornings they come by, we was I'm very when the kids were walking, but we did say that it was kind of chilly. We didn't go. So, but the neighbor said, so we made that and suggest centering. We try the right there, there's a conflict over there. It's
Okay, that's fine. But as we know, there are, it's not like speeds, and we get some list speeds are right regulation. I mean. That should be given a separate one.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where maybe it would be going this way. Then this, stick it out.
Commissioners ready for Amanda?
It's. Again?
Oh, she just made today the Elizabeth and Amanda
I guess
show.
so.
Okay, well, good morning again, Amanda, website director. So I am here with planning and development's monthly update. I wasn't able to visit with you folks in October for our September updates, and I have those September and October for you. So jumping right on into Keat Sewer Benefit District, of course, my third one can keep it updated, so probably most of what I'll share has already been shared, but I will anyway. So we were able to get our USDA application submitted on September 29th, so that was before the deadline of technically September 30th. It was a little close there, but we got it in. Just as a reminder, October 1, USDA began using updated census data. And if we hadn't been able to submit our application before October 1, we would have been required to redo the income surveys. As it is, we're allowed to keep using the 2021 income surveys, so we were able to do that. Redoing the income survey, if we had to do it, we had to do it. However, it obviously takes time. It's a cost that is then assessed to the Keats community, and the population is changing there, so there's really no guarantee that we would get the same result, and we might have been become ineligible even for the USDA grant. So it's really to everybody's benefit that we were able to get our application in, and we did not have to redo those income surveys. We have received confirmation and notice of eligibility from USDA, so Keats is eligible for that funding. And so we are working on the additional documentation they need, environmental reports, et cetera, things like that. That USDA will need to kind of complete the application, if you will. So we've got that going. Team Keats, as of course you all already know, we held a community meeting in September 20th out in the Keats community, just to kind of give them an update. The last time we've been out there was March 9th. So that had been a little bit since we visited with them. I had been sending them roughly monthly updates just to keep them in the loop and make sure they know we're still thinking about them. But we needed to get back out there in front of them. Of course, we had to let them know the cost information has, to nobody's surprise, but unfortunately has increased. So we wanted to make sure they were aware of that. We wanted to make sure they were aware that we've been working to contact their neighbors and neighboring property owners, and that we weren't having a whole lot of luck with them, and in the hopes that maybe they could start talking to some of their neighbors, so it wasn't just coming from us. And we wanted to just really stress to them that we are really at a critical point. We have been, of course, for a while, but with everything that we've been working on and some of the dead ends we've been hitting, just really at a critical point that we need to get things figured out for Keats. So and as always, we continue to search for land and any other additional funding that we might take. Comprehensive plan update, just a few highlights here since I give you the full monthly updates. As of last night, we have had 8 of the 11 community meetings. Last night we were up in Randolph. And as mentioned, we notify each corresponding township 2 weeks in advance by a postcard letting them know the meeting's coming up, where to go, all of that. For questions, we call, all of that. We've been averaging 25 to 29 people at each meeting, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in public outreach world is a lot. It's actually a really good turnout. You know, we have sent out many notification postcards, and again, that we're getting a couple dozen people is really good. So we're happy to have them. Again, I have been at every meeting, I've been asking, raise your hand if you've taken the survey. Over 8 meetings and well over 150 people, I think I've had to raise their hand. So it's been a really good opportunity to say, hey, here, please take the survey, tell all your friends and neighbors and family to take the survey. It's very, very important. And really make sure they know where to find it and how important it is to take it. And since we've been having the community meetings and we kind of had that conversation with them kind of face to face, the numbers have increased. So as of this morning, when I wrote this, it was a little lower, but as of this morning, we have 517. Yes, some of them are partial, but we have 517, and that's pretty darn fantastic. So again, right now the survey is still open through the November 15th. We have our last community meeting on November 15th, so probably we'll kind of hold it open a little bit longer. I just really want to make sure we have as many people as possible able to take that. And we do have hard copies. You do not have to take it online. I'm happy to send you a hard copy. You can come on by and grab a hard copy. We can definitely do that for folks. You do not have to take it online if you don't want to. The folks last night were, I don't want to go online. I don't want to go on the internet. That's okay. We can get your paper copy. Happy to do it. So let's see. So subcommittees are continuing to meet and having great discussion. I've given each of them kind of a customized worksheet with some a little bit better direction and to start really thinking about how to craft some goals and objectives and actions for their respective sections. So those are ongoing and going well. And then of course, I'll give you a full update at the end of the month on the 27th. And then in December, in December, I have reserved an hour to talk about Riley County Comprehensive Plan updates, so you guys can excitedly look to that early Christmas present for you. So it'll be.
You're out that day, Commissioner Ford.
I think we all are.
Something else came out.
Because I want to give you a more, I mean, it's, we've been talking about this, of course, monthly, but I want to give you all kind of a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more specific. We'll talk about some of the, we're going to work to compile the public survey input and the community meeting input. So I want to get that all before you folks so you can see what people are saying and just give a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more to that.
Although I won't be here on the 27th. That one.
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Yeah, just
All
so
right.
you know. Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
November
As long as you're
27th.
here on the
Okay.
18th. That's the
I'll be here.
Just barely.
So,
I'll probably be here on Zoom. We'll see on that.
okay. Well, you still get the packet, I would assume. So you can still read all about it. So. And again, as I said, you know where to find me. So of course we had a September meeting with our Riley County Planning Board and reviewed a couple of replats that have since come to you folks for final approval. It's been interesting the last couple months of the year. We just don't have any agenda items. Things just haven't come together. It's not abnormal for things to slow down a little bit into the winter months. So we didn't have an October meeting and we're not going to have a November meeting, which is applications in. So it'll be a little bit quieter towards the end of the year for the planning board. And we are going to have a little bit of turnover on our planning board. Diane Hubler, one of our long-term members, has submitted her resignation effective end of the year. She was gracious enough to find a wonderful candidate who has already applied. And I'm not sure if it's been before you folks yet, but it will be soon to have you appoint him. So the good thing is she is resigning, but she has wonderfully found a new person to take her spot. So we don't have to worry about, oh no, we're down somebody, what do we do? So
She's been on it a long time.
she's been on a long time and goodness, we appreciate all of her dedication over the years. She is going to, now that she's transitioning off the planning board, she's going to join our comprehensive plan committee. So she's still there. She's still there helping us out. So we're really, really happy to have her, her helping with all of that. So She's been a great asset over the years. And John Wink and Nathan Larson both have terms expiring at the end of the year. I've been able to connect with John. He is going to seek reappointment. And I haven't been able to connect with Nathan yet to see if he will or not. I know Cindy had mentioned she would be sending out renewal letters or letters or whatnot here pretty quick. So if I can't connect with Nathan, he'll do that information. Yeah, so if he doesn't want to re-up his term and we can't find anybody, we'll still have 4. So we'll still be able to continue to conduct business. It's a little bit squishier and more than one person are missing, then we don't have a quorum, but either hopefully they will want to continue or he can talk to somebody, take his place, we can get some reappointments. That's what's happening with the planning board. As you all hopefully remember, October was National Community Planning Month, and we did a proclamation designating such the end of September, and thank you for that. We did our impact engineering comprehensive plan amendments, and we also did, this was a staff level thing that we did, their annual review, just like we do with our conference plan. You gotta review it, see what's happening, what's the work plan, what's the action items that need to happen. And of course, with their conference plans, a variety of entities are included, Riley County, BOCC County, some of the NPO, the regional agencies, and they all have different little responsibilities or whatnot with the action items. So they just send it around, what comments do we might have, what have we been up to. So we've taken care of that for the year. Solid Waste Management Committee, I always like to talk about this one. So we have, I believe, 18 folks on that committee. We can have up to 30 as per state statute. You folks recently appointed Joseph Whitlock. He's from K-State, member at large. We are desperately seeking folks from the small cities. I think that's kind of a normal thing. It's hard to find folks from the small cities or more rural areas to be involved. But this is another one of those things that's very important that we have small city representation. The solid waste management plan does not only impact Manhattan and Riley County, it impacts all of us. So for them to have a seat at the table is really important. And David Kreller, our chair, has been very, very proactive about reaching out to folks. And we did connect with a couple folks we did connect with the clerks from Leonardville and Riley, who presented the information to their city councils who are supportive, which is great, step one, but they don't yet have nominees or anybody that they want to.
I was saying, that Riley meeting, she brought it up and they discussed it. But they didn't have anybody step forward, but they had some names they were going to talk to some people to see if they could find some.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So how it would work is somebody residing in one of the small cities, the third class cities as they're called, that city council would need to approve their appointment, and then it would come to you folks for final appointment. So hopefully we'll get some representation from those small cities here soon, especially as we're kicking off our plan update. We have a 5-year update that's that we're going to be kicking off. We have a November 16th meeting with our committee that will start talking about that, and it's due in May 2024. So it's already time for that 5-year review. So if we can get some of those other members on in time, although again, that's only a couple weeks away that we're starting, that would be great. Yes.
On the small cities, that's always been a problem, has it not? So, and Greg, I guess I'm asking you, since you served on it, to me, it would kind of make sense if the small cities would entertain maybe appointing their maintenance official in the community. Who else would know more about being throughout the community and knowing those issues? And then you would have someone regularly appointed and represented, make it part of their position potentially. I mean, because we just don't get volunteers, and they see everything in the city. Just an idea that floated through my head.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was thinking that for Ogden, I'm like, who would actually even know enough to be on there? And
David Shower, David Shower, is he on that?
He was.
And he's one he's been in Riley. He's been on the flag for.
He was our third class representative, and he resigned.
But he resigned. So
we did that. But their maintenance person, for all the small cities, they always have one.
Yeah.
Just a thought,
That's definitely something we can.
because it's always been a struggle.
Yeah.
It's just like finding elected officials in townships and small cities. It's tough, but if you have someone that's on the payroll already, kind of doing that work.
Maybe we ought to send out a letter to the city, the small cities and suggest that.
Because you've been in contact with clerks too.
Right,
You might
yeah.
mention that to them, see if.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It might even help in a combination letter between Amanda and the board. I mean, you know, the board have that.
And then they can bring it up in a meeting and,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and see if they want to add
Just a
that.
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
something.
yeah, we can get something prepared. Yeah, I'm happy to do anything that we can to get something.
Yeah, that's right. It's got a couple of keys as well. Put one of them on.
And I think that's pretty much all. And I know I'm at my time, so anybody have any questions or anything for me?
I don't.
Thanks, Amanda. Commissioners, time for Mr. Holman's executive session.
Didn't have anything else before.
No, sir.
How long do we need?
It's okay, sir.
Okay. And we need somebody. Oh, okay.
We have
The expert is the-
we have two somebodies.
Oh,
We have the rookie and we have the birthday boy.
The jaded.
Was this your birthday? Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
What time will the executive session end?
Sander,
10.
great question. It's always neat.
So Vivian's learning how to do this.
Yes.
I have to back up. Okay, so we'll go. Back to the meeting, and we'll stop video.
Motion first.
Oh, I'm
The motion has to be public and
okay.
then the steps you make.
don't listen to him, just close it all off. I'll go ahead and move the county commission, including the chairwoman Pokey, vice chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, county counselor, attorney for the commission, which should be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship and exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, with the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:30 a.m.
Second.
So moved and seconded to, for the, Board of Raleigh County Commission to recess into executive session until 10:30 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And you are live.
I go ahead and move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
A second.
So moved and seconded that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
I also move that the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
A second.
I didn't get you.
It's been moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor? Aye.
Sure.
Thanks, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay, it's 10:30.
All right, good morning again, Commissioner. I may or may not have run from the other building, so.
May or may not.
So fast that you're actually still on Zoom. Look at that.
It's a special.
Zoom over there.
A Zoom, yeah, I got you in there.
11 o'clock, got here about 30 minutes early.
It got here a little quick, yeah. What I'm here to discuss at this time is the pay scale for 2024. And we do this each year about the same time, sometime at the end of October, beginning of November. And you will see that the pay scale, we have the resolutions here. The pay scale is this. It looks exactly like last year's, except that it is 5% to the right, so 5% increase, which is how the COLA works. Salaried staff would be the same exact rates. It's an 80-hour work week, so take it times 80 and they get paid on a pay rate of like 2-week pay rate. The EMS has their own pay scale, which is here. Same exact setup as last year, 5% to the right. And then the professional positions, so your directors, and a couple other positions that are considered professional, which was designed years ago. This is the exact same setup as well that you've seen your entire time as a commissioner, has also the same 5% to the right. So I do also, though, have a breakdown in the past, and we didn't do this last year, but prior to last year, every year prior to that, Riley County had used a chart similar to this. And it had basically laid out for everyone the grade, which you can't see this. You can see it in this packet. Wait, I'm an IT professional.
It's either Vivian or Clancy, one of the two.
Good choice.
So you were able to see that in your packet, but you can see, basically you can use this to determine where anyone is who's placed in the chart. So on the left-hand side, you have the range, and this is where we place the positions in the salary study. So each position is in one of those ranges based on the pay scale that you approved last year. And then across the board is the years of applicable experience. It is not necessarily the years I've worked at Riley County. It's the years that I have experience in my position. So for example, I always tease Michael Bowler because we've had a lot of conversations about this. If I would go apply for a job with him and I would apply for an applicator, even though I have 20 years of experience and 3 years at Riley County, he'd start me at 0, right? I don't have any applicator experience. So he would start me at 0 years. But if I apply for a human resources position, you would take, if you were going to hire me, you would take into consideration my years of experience as human resources. So the same applies whether the position is an admin assistant or a director. The same also applies for promotions. So for example, if I move from an IT technician to an IT specialist, I may move back in applicable years of experience because that position then automatically requires 3 to 5 years of certain experience. Does that make sense? So the big change that we did, a year ago now, a little over a year ago, is that we moved from kind of these steps that didn't have direction for the department heads when they were hiring to a years of applicable experience so that they could look at it and we literally take the resume and we say, okay, the position requires an associate's degree, it requires 2 years of experience as an operator, it requires a CDL, and we check those off. And if they have 10 years experience as an operator, then we would give them, we would actually end up giving them a 5-year, because 10 years would count as outside experience at 50%, inside experience at full year. So we have a consistent way to grade people. Okay, any questions about how that works? The other point, and so all of that really is very clear cut and no changes to anything that we have discussed previously, no changes to the budget, no changes to the pay scale, no changes to COLA, nothing at all. The other part though, that I want to make sure that everyone is really clear about, and I have talked to all the department heads about this, and I've talked to several employees as well, is the implementation. So because we are still at this implementation, where is it? This implementation of that salary study, when we moved everyone, the 10.5% and then 5% for longevity, and we placed everybody in that market rate, they didn't exactly fall into a pay scale, right? So they didn't exactly fall into our rates of that chart that we just showed you. And so what we needed to do for 2024 is basically settle people into the market rate for their years of experience. And even though the pay scale moved 5%, and those that qualified for merit, some people were much closer to the higher end between the rates, and some people were much closer to the lower end between the rates. And so we have varying percentage. Everyone is getting the COLA, the effective COLA. Everyone that qualifies is getting the effective merit. But for example, if my rate fell so much closer to the top end between the two rates, I may only be getting a 5% increase. If my rate from 2023 fell really close to the lower end, I might get up to that 9.75%. It will end up that every single person will end up in this same scale, which is not that one, this same rate chart that we talked about. And they will be able to find themselves, they'll be able to say, okay, I'm at 3 years, I expect if I perform well, I will be at 4 years, those types of things. But they won't be able to this year say, well, John is getting 5.12%, and Clancy's getting 6%, and it's not going to work out as a percent this year for every single employee the same. And I will.
Aren't you retiring soon?
I hear different things.
Last week, wasn't that a potential 2 years out? Yeah.
I also hear, why aren't you gone yet?
No. So I want to be super clear about that. I've tried to be very transparent to the department heads with that. It's not that it's not based on any one person's performance. It's really based on those 10.5% and 5% and where it's had people fall in between the market rate. And that really is the bottom line. And I've told the department heads, and I would tell employees as well, I really solidly believe that we have market rate pay. And that I would encourage anyone who's concerned to go ahead and look, see what's in the market, see what is competitive out there. And I'm not encouraging anyone to leave. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying, hey, go ahead and leave. I'm saying, honestly, look what's out there, see what's competitive. And I think you'll find out that we have a really great benefit package, a really great compensation package, and really a great place to work. Not saying we can't make improvements and always work on our supervision, but I think you should look and know what's out there. Any questions on that? Okay, I would ask that you approve, there's 2 resolutions, one related, and I guess I did touch on that. We always do this every year, but we are required to post the appointed and elected official salaries. So you'll see not by name, but by title, it's basically everyone on the professional scale. So these are elected and appointed officials, their salaries. So I would request that you approve both the resolution for classified and professional and EMS, as well as the elected and appointed salaries.
They have to be separate?
They have been historically, I don't.
If you want to make one motion, I'll just pull them out appropriately. That's how they are on here, but.
Yeah, okay, well, they're actually not on here at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got them separate, but make one motion and I'll fill them out in the same order of whoever moves seconds and.
I'll go ahead and move that the board approve the proposed 2024 pay scale rates and salary resolutions for elected and appointed professional positions for the 2024 payroll year effective December 23rd, 2023.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed 2024 pay scale, pay scales, pay scale rates and salary resolutions for 24, effective December 23rd, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2 resolutions for all 3 to sign, please.
Let's just start on the second one. Yes.
Ready for the next item, commissioners? Maybe not. Ready for Elizabeth, commissioners?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, we mentioned we were going to talk about department head evaluations. So we're actually talking about all evaluations at Riley County. We are going to do evaluations for all of our non-department head folks. We've got the process started. We're using one consistent form in Paylocity. There's some history there, some information for you about how we transitioned to Paylocity, and we had to use some hard forms last year. Shiloh's office tested, was kind of our pilot group for the Paylocity evaluation last year. And we've got everything launched. We've got a few reviewer glitches, but for our non-department head folks, we've got that system started. So for department heads, that's really where my question comes in for you all. So we've done, in the last 3 years, we've done 3 different evaluations for department heads. And I think if my memory is correct, I think at the end of the last evaluation period, the consensus was, hey, it's still not quite gelling right. And so I put together another form, a different kind of setup to maybe make it a little more consistent. So I have attached what we used in 20 and 21. I've also attached what we used in 22, and then the proposal for 23. The big difference for 23, there's kind of a couple of things, is that it includes a more formalized self-assessment so that when they present their goals and accomplishments, it would be consistent. I know right now each department kind of creates their own presentation, and maybe that's difficult to kind of search through and get the key pieces from. So that would be a change. And then, of course, the form itself is just different, and it has fewer points. Hopefully the idea was to focus on the big things that a department head or executive should be evaluated on. So leading change, leading people, knowledge of their area, and whether they're getting results. So that was the kind of my intention in creating that last form, which I would be happy to take any questions on. However, I do have an additional option to present to you on behalf of the department heads. So we met yesterday with the department heads and discussed, they obviously this was published and discussed, and they knew what we were going to present another form. And we had some discussion, and a consensus was kind of came to the surface that perhaps you may choose to forego evaluations this year. And instead of having a consistent evaluation on every single department head, because you do have the monthly reports, you have them come in and give you their monthly updates, perhaps you specifically those department heads that you'd like to meet with this year, so ones that maybe have had some transition this year or are new or some reason that you'd like to meet with them, we schedule. And there are a couple that specifically would like to meet with you, so we schedule, and it's based on performance, their performance and wanting to hear from you. We could schedule those and not necessarily schedule all of those that you feel you don't necessarily need to have an annual review. So I think the options are, in my mind, and of course you could make something else, but in my mind, what I've thought about is either choosing one of these evaluation forms or choosing a non-evaluation, but more of a performance discussion with those that need to have a discussion.
I think you know where I'm going to go.
Well, you guys get to choose how you'd like to do this.
The issue for me through, I guess, 4 of these processes and now 5 is there's certain jobs here. It's really hard for me to evaluate because I don't do them. I'm not a county appraiser. I'm not an engineer. I'm not EMS. So how am I supposed to sit here and really evaluate the position entirely when I'm not a professional at it? I mean, I'm just not. That's always been a struggle with that. And I believe that particularly at the beginning of the year, I make sure to get to each and every one of you, elected or non-elected, and have a conversation. And if need be, have a conversation at given times through the year as things come up, both positive and sometimes not positive. So I think I'm pretty engaged in that process to where I don't know that this has to be as complicated as we've seemed to make it.
Yeah.
Now, I know future commissions will look at that differently. Maybe the other 2 commissioners have a different view on that, but that's just where I stand. I don't feel like I have to micromanage this entire process.
So my response, and because we've had this conversation, would be that I agree you're not a professional. That's why you hire professionals. However, from HR, right? This is just my HR opinion that you are held accountable to make sure that these folks are managing in the way that the county would. And that's been my thought process of why we've done the evaluation. So in the end, you will be held accountable and you will hear if the appraiser's not doing a good job, right? And so I don't think you can tell the appraiser how to appraise. I don't think you can tell the EMS director how to save a life.
But I will tell you, first 3 years of this process, that's how the form's laid out.
Yeah, I mean, you need to tell them you need to give them direction on how to manage a department.
If I'm sitting on the end of it, then I'm laughing at it because what the hell do I know? In simplistic terms, what the hell do I know?
Yeah.
I will tell you from that perspective, somebody on the other end, nobody's laughing.
Yeah, well,
You might not be, but I would be.
But not at the idea that you don't have the ability to tell people how to manage their departments, because that's what the feedback you get.
yeah. And they're all here, so feel free to ask them too. Yeah.
We're not telling them you need to do this as appraiser, but just as an overview. And I do think, in the evaluation, it's a little better. Like I said, I've complained about it just in the short time I've been on.
Sure.
That it was just cumbersome to try to. It's cumbersome to write it all out, but just as sitting down with each one of them individually, or as a commission, I think talking to each one of them, some kind of an evaluation, just discuss what they see going on and what we see going on, I think is valuable.
Mm-hmm. And just as a response, my concern is that if there's not some structure, it doesn't have to be the one presented, but if there's not some structure, the conversation may not be, first of all, focused on performance, which is what we need it to be, right? We can't just have an executive session for a conversation. And it may, what I've gathered, and you guys can disagree, but what I've gathered is they want to have this evaluation if it is constructive and if they get valuable direction from you. And so if you all can do that in some more different structure, some different format, that's great. I mean, again, you guys get to, it's just the perspective to think about.
I think just the simple, are you leading forward? Are you leading in present time? Are you leading your team? Are you communicating and working with us? How you lay that out specifically in that 15-minute conversation. And if it's like a 1 through 5 evaluation, if it's 3 and above, you're meeting all that criteria. So you're doing your job.
Sure.
And it's just that simple.
Yeah, and I like the idea. I really like this self-assessment form. It's a little long, but I thought maybe what I was saying like you is just sit down and say, okay, let's go over your self-assessment. And I think, I could learn a lot that way.
Yeah, I think so too.
And maybe use that as kind of a guide.
Yeah, because I assume and I don't remember how it works, because I think you've done the self-evaluations before.
Yeah, and that was important.
Yeah, they've done, what they've done is they've always presented their accomplishments for the year and their goals for the upcoming year in some sort of format, though they've never had a specific format. And all the new department heads, when they came in, they said, okay, well, what format do I do it in? And I said, well, you get to choose however you think it's best to present.
I'm not as concerned about maybe the accomplishments over the top kind of year because we do get that monthly update. So I'm aware of those already, unless you're looking at it maybe from your own personal view. I mean, but that could be incorporated into here. So that's perfectly fine. But what you're planning for in real time and what your vision and focus for is moving forward is more valuable to me than what's already been accomplished.
And I think they need to know, in my opinion, again, HR, right? You guys are the final. It has to be valuable. HR believes that it's important that what they think the goals are is actually what you want the goals to be, not how to do it, not how to accomplish it, but are they on the right track? But again, it has to be valuable for you and for them. Otherwise, it's just me saying it's important.
Because at least the first few years for me was kind of the case.
Yeah, I mean, I told them that. I'm like, well, I've been carrying the flag, I don't know, for 3 years, but I mean, we've tried really hard, and we have to make it valuable. I think it's the Senate, you guys. If I'm saying something, if I'm misquoting you all, please let me know. But they want to have your feedback, but if we're not making it happen valuably,
it's one of the reasons why I think we need to sit down collectively and come up with that at this point in time. But that's another discussion for another day.
Well, I don't know if the first form on this, that was what we had a lot of that last year. And it didn't really mean a lot, like, especially to me. I mean, just all of these, but I think to just sit down individually with the department heads and, go over what they like about their job, what they don't like, how can we help you? What's your feedback? That kind of conversation would be, I think, more valuable to me anyway, to determine where we're going and if everything's going okay.
Yeah, I still think so. We're able to meet with each one of them.
Yeah.
And get that self-evaluation and kind of discuss, like you said, really want to discuss that. And I guess we could put our evaluation thing ahead of.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to evaluate,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of verbiage. The first page is really just explanations. They're really right now, which doesn't have to be there. There's like you saying what your goals are for the department, then you saying whether they are leading change, leading people, they know what they're doing, and they are getting results. We can cut all of those, none of them, some of them. Not do it all.
I think you can take every single one of those and I can write a paragraph or two and summarize it and it's good.
Okay, I'm just overall like this is.
I can take each one of those: leading change, leading people, knowledge, results driven. And basically write a paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs. I can sum up each one of the department heads pretty clearly.
As a combined.
Yeah. And to me, that's as simplistic as possible. And if there's any questions, I think everybody knows my door is open and I know that everybody else's door is open. What more do we need out of it? I mean, is there something HR related outside of that? Please explain.
No,
To me, that's all I need.
No, what HR needs is these people to know, like same thing that I want them to give to their people, I keep telling them, I want them to know that they're meeting your expectations or they're deviating and what you want from them. And so whatever we can do for that, that'll be meaningful, right? And it doesn't have to happen in an annual eval. This is just a formalized way to make sure it's happening.
I just believe in simplicity at this point in time. Aren't we all busy? I mean, we've discussed that here in the fall of just how busy we are. We're taking work home. We're stressing out over it. Just keep it simple. I mean, if there's a problem along the way, we're either going to sit down and figure it out or we can't. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame here. But this, every year I've done this, I've had nothing negative to say about anybody. I just don't think we have to keep trying to recreate a wheel or add a wheel into the equation to simplify it.
And also, the department heads have asked for direction from you. I mean, they are wanting direction from the commissioners. And yes, you can sit down individually, but no one commissioner can say this is what we want you to do. So I think there is a lot of good, if it's valuable, if you guys are doing that, there is a lot of good meaning in having you sit down and say, yes, this is what we want to continue you doing. Hey, we really in the future want to look at this. And yeah, I don't mind if they don't tell you a list of their accomplishments. I mean, again, it's got to be what you and they get something out of, but they are saying, yes, if they will give us direction, we want that.
Well, and you were saying, if we met individually, each one, and we said things, we can't, the three of us sit here and talk to each other and say, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to, we have to do it in a meeting with them. We can't put that out. So we have to do it in a meeting with them. We can't each one meet with each other. I mean, it's
very difficult. Yes, it's very difficult to manage. Yeah, I agree. It's their option.
We have to do it as a group. I mean, we meet individually and I talk to them individually.
Yes.
About things, but as what we want from the commission, we can't.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't discuss each other what we want to do. We have to do it.
Yeah. And so your other option would be to do it at their staff meeting. Like you could say, okay, well, David, next year we'd like you to change your direction on EMS, but I don't know if that's going to be the.
We have those executive sessions for, what was it, 15 minutes?
Right, that's executive session.
Right,
Yes.
and we discussed that in that time frame and
Yes.
need to come back and revisit one or something. We find another time to do that and keep a very short form and just kind of lay that out. Like I said, you can take this department head performance review, in my opinion, and condense it all down to just basically laying out a simple summary.
Yeah, I mean, so if I'm hearing maybe something gelling together, what I hear John saying is maybe take the points, put them together, one paragraph, one rating. Say, okay, basically think about, so the direction would be think about how does the department head lead change people, organization, and do they do their job well, that kind of thing. You say.
You're meeting all that, you're exceeding all that, you're not exceeding all that. Why are you here? That's not gonna be the case, by the way. He's already out the door anyway, so I'm not worried.
That's a surprise.
That's not gonna, I mean, in my time here, it's been you're meeting or exceeding.
Yeah.
That's been standard across the board. That's not gonna change.
Well,
and that's why I'm saying, I don't know that we have to fundamentally recreate the wheel here.
Sure. And to both of your points, you do address when there is a performance issue, you prefer to address it immediately. So, and we talked about that as well yesterday. So it's not that anyone should be surprised when they walk in here. And then I guess if I'm hearing maybe Greg and Catherine, keep at least some of the self-assessment, have that maybe that be kind of the framework for the discussion, have them do a self-assessment, focusing on goals and what they're doing, what they enjoy in their job, what they need from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot of it has to do with being a manager and, how you feel you're doing as manager, supervisor, those kinds of roles. I could use some help with X or some help with Y, that kind of, what can we do to solve some problems if we have them or make things better? That kind of a evaluation would be a lot more valuable.
All right, we can do that. And then if you're okay, in the interest of time, I will email out the draft of that combination, and you can individually say yea or nay.
And the one thing on the self-evaluation, the end one was anything they want to share with us, anything they want from us. Is there something, I mentioned it last year to you, I think, that have them evaluate us
I know.
and make it anonymous. They don't have to be, I don't know. I want to hear it, but if I need to hear it, I need to hear it.
Yeah, we did talk about that. The 3 commissioners, if you want the department heads to evaluate you, you guys can decide that.
They do, it's called the ballot box.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
We don't know about that.
That is anonymous.
No chance of
That's
improvement.
fine and dandy, but maybe that needs to be a separate process from what we're trying to do here in the midst of.
Well, there are 360 evals that does exist where they evaluate up, but it's tough.
Right.
And I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that, but maybe not in this realm.
Yeah, but like on that last one, they can
What they do
say,
for-
it
Yeah, I'm right.
would help if you would start doing this or something, and I,
Yeah, that'll get that.
I'm sure we screw up stuff,
I guess I'd just suggest rather than Elizabeth send it to you individually and get an individual, because what you say may be 360 from what Catherine says. You just put everything together real quickly. You interpret what they've come to a consensus here on, and then get on the agenda as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That way we can refine it, because John may say one thing, it's just the opposite of what Catherine says in individual
Sure.
things, and then you don't know where to go. At least we can clear it up if you meet with all 3 of them at once.
Sure, I mean, I can have it
Yeah.
done and back on the agenda if we have to get time on, we have Monday, should we have a meeting, if we decide we have a night meeting for it. That's not a problem, this again, you guys will. Which is my next point, as I currently have the 20th and the 30th blocked. And it is on there's some dates on there and times.
I don't take the 20th for work, well, unless you're doing it during the meeting, because I think we have a law board meeting on that day.
And I think it's
She has it
4 o'clock.
started at 2.
I have about 11:20, 2:20 and 2:40.
Yeah, 11:20 to 11:30. Is time blocked off to use
Yeah,
it
it's
if
just
you
blocked
need it.
right now. It's just blocked off right now because, and then you're supposed to, you go to law.
Which would
board.
give you 11:30 to 1:30 for law board. Is that enough time for law board? 2
I
hours?
don't know yet, because I don't know what we're gonna be discussing.
Tell us your crystal ball, Commissioner Ford.
Yeah, my crystal ball is clouded, it's like more like that A ball, and it's a, get back to me at a later time.
Yeah, we do have that time.
So we're
blocked.
talking about the 30th, is that?
Well, I've got, right now I have the 20th, which, and we have the 11:30 to 1:30 block for law board. And I have us stopping at 3 o'clock on the 20th. And I think, Catherine, you had said you needed to be done by that time.
Yeah, I have a thing at 3:30. I need to,
So we would be,
I need to leave here probably by 2:30
Okay,
on the
so she
30th.
scratched one of those. right?
Yeah, I've got something else going on 30th too, and I don't remember what it was.
And then, yeah, the 30th, I've got, kind of a full day, so 10:40 until 1:20, well, we can be there until 2 o'clock,
I do too.
Actually, you got 10:15 marked off on here.
do we?
Mhm.
I think
We can
that's-
switch a little forward. You what,
Can I have that one?
10:15?
I'm sorry.
That's cheating.
Cheating.
They just said, no.
I guess I didn't
know.
Everybody's gonna have to grab the time that they want right away.
Somebody did.
That's quick.
They haven't gone out yet, so.
Well, I mean, we are starting kind of earlier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we don't get them all done in 1 or 2 days, I mean, we have to stretch a time or something. you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just saying, if you want me to not schedule in those times, let me know, so that I don't schedule them. If
Then
those
we'll
times
find
don't-
other days.
Yeah, I will go find other days, absolutely. That's what I currently have blocked, and they work apparently from what has been.
I'll probably have to get back with you on the 20th after we have our pre-law board meeting, because I don't know what we're discussing yet.
Remember KAC's December 7th.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and we've got the next week, one day it's out.
Okay, I'll work on scheduling, and if we have to reschedule, we will. Make
We'll
that-
do.
Oh, David is not scheduling.
I've got really actually.
I think you want it 4 o'clock that day.
It does, but you know,
All right, thanks.
Except the-
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Y'all better draft that.
Even better next thing, no, so-
So you guys are saying no increases for departments.
No evaluations. I also don't know. Well, well, I was just gonna say, we don't really need to hear from the elected officials on accomplishments necessarily either.
It's whatever the board wants.
I mean, we could do the same thing with them and they can just talk about what they're gonna work on the following year. I mean,
Mhm.
we get monthly, we get the monthly updates. I don't need to rehash what I've already know over the course of the year. That's what I'm saying.
So legally, we can't tell an official, another public official what to do or evaluate them, really, can we?
We're not evaluating.
You're not evaluating, you never have been evaluated.
Just coordinating.
Right.
Coordinating.
Well, I mean,
And those have to be in an open meeting, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they do. It's the same reason.
yeah. But instead of them rehashing what they've already told us in 12 meetings.
Well, yeah.
Just see what they got coming the next
Right.
year.
You just start talking about
Refine that.
where you're at in real time and, you know, what you're looking at moving into 2024.
Mhm. For sure.
I mean, we're all busy people, so there's nothing to rehash. these
Message to
things,
us.
You know, right.
We can do that. Any other business, commissioners?
I don't have anything. I know you do.
Yeah, I just waited for official business
Oh, okay.
before we do unofficial business.
I
Oh,
don't
well,
have anything.
what's the spread?
4 points, Texas.
Yeah.
Went down to 4.
I saw even earlier, it was like 3 at one point.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Commissioner
6 or
Ford,
7.
if you reverse prices right me again, because you were first last place last time.
First last one. Just like my fantasy league team, although I went a perfect 4-0 this last weekend in football. All 4 of my teams, including my fantasy league team wins, so that
Current
probably won't happen again. So,
current score is myself 1, Catherine 2, Greg 3. Yeah, I don't see any for you, Commissioner Ford. Sorry.
It's gonna change this week. I don't like the matchup. I just don't. I think Texas's strength works against our strength on both sides of the ball. The quarterback they've got can toss the ball. He knows how to stretch the defense, and they got receivers that can stretch the defense. I know our defense has played well, but last handful of teams we played hasn't tried to stretch the defense on us. I'm still bothered by that. Texas's front seven's pretty stout. They know how to stop the run. So I don't know. Avery Johnson will be an answer if all else fails. I don't know. But I just think Texas is at home. They got a lot on the line. So do we. They just seem to have our numbers. And they seem to have the athletes to do it. So I'm going to pick Texas 33-28.
And it's been how long since we beat Texas?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, how long has it been?
Down there, we have, I think, 11. This is the last time.
I think so.
Someone in Texas.
And they've won the last 6 or so.
Because for a while, we had a good number, and then
We won the Texas Bowl every year for consecutive years.
And I think 12. We beat them here to win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, we did. That was fun.
well, Ron Prince. No,
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
He went up for 3 versus everybody else, but
But he
Texas.
couldn't beat KU, Nebraska, Missouri. but he
Yeah.
could beat Texas.
Beat Texas 3 times in a row.
Well, I'm betting because I'm not putting money on it. I can go by my heart, not my mind. I've got K-State 35-24.
Catherine?
I don't know.
Yeah, she's the one that wins.
The good thing is none of us know.
It's football. I'm just saying, 27 K-State, 26 Texas.
I think that's a good score.
1 point.
I'm thinking somewhere along those.
I think it's gonna be really close.
Clancy?
24-20 K-State.
They're all close.
Kind of price is right. I had previously written down 21-20 K-State.
Well, it's all like within a couple of range.
That's what it was last week too.
Dewberry.
Oh, pretty close.
This is, just for the record, this was one on the schedule going into the season. I didn't have us winning, so it's not like I'm just picking it off around, so.
We'll have to keep our momentum up. Anyone's beatable. I mean,
Yeah.
Houston, blows my mind how Houston about beat them.
Yeah.
That's the one anomaly, but their quarterback is a physical specimen. That kid is, I don't know if you've seen, but all the quarterbacks in the quarterback room have a shirt off, picture of them and football bottoms and everything. They're all physical specimens. That dude is big.
There's a video of him off of his right knee. He can throw the ball on the line 60 yards.
Who
off
is
his
it?
knee. Malik, whatever, I can't know his name. He's subbing in for Quinn Ayers, who's Texas quarterback.
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy, I think you're right.
Yeah, my
He
son,
was on his knee and he could actually with his hand whip it 60 yards.
you get real watching a couple weeks ago. My son-in-law was at the house and said, "Yeah, this kid can wing it." Because I saw him, and it was the first place he saw him throw it. It was like 30 yards, and it was just on a string.
Yeah.
It just gets there.
Yeah.
It is. He's got not quite the velocity of Bishop, but getting close to that kind of velocity.
I got to remember, he's in the same quarterback room with, the third generation Manning. So
I think everybody said he's not
not picking it up is what I've been told. So anyway, but
I think it's time for us to beat Texas.
I agree.
I thought we were planning on going down there, but just didn't work out. We wanted to go down.
What are going to be
One
key?
point we tried to figure out a way to go to Texas and then go to Vegas on Monday. For the basketball.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It was, it doesn't work.
I've taken that flight from Dallas to Vegas. It's not a bad flight.
Yeah, but the times
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
didn't work well with our friends that are in Austin.
Our defensive line has to get pressure.
Yeah.
That'll be the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can.
And I will give credit. Our defensive line has really stepped up over the last couple of games.
They have, but like you said, Texas is good in everything too.
Yeah.
In Texas, the thing about what you say about has the athletes. For decades, they've always had the athletes. They just can't get the maximum out of their athletes.
I think the last couple of years, Sarkeesian has kind of changed the culture there as kids are playing. They're playing, maybe not to a 5-star level, but they're playing at a high level.
Well, I think so too, but then you got the OU game and you got the Houston game that both just make me
Houston game.
scratch my head,
OU's playing with the same type of talent. So talent for talent, you're there. Houston, I don't know, just a bad day, bad matchup. Every team does that, but and hopefully they do it again. But I think that's the problem. I wish they didn't have that Houston game, and they go in here. Maybe they're playing a little over their heads, and I just don't see it. So
I think Oklahoma State's going to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I agree. I bet like Commissioner McKinley with the purple blood in my veins, so it's through purple sunglasses. So it's a hope. And we have so much money riding on it.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't afford to lose that. Okay. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we adjourn the November 2nd meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to adjourn the November 2nd